What can content creators learn from amusement park designers? Lots, but let's just focus on queue design, waiting in line. Let's think about Disney World. There's one ride in particular at Disney World. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It's at Epcot. Epcot is the modern take on the World's Fair. It's a giant ring where you walk around the world, you visit various regions and countries. Why is there a Guardians of the Galaxy ride, a Marvel Cinematic Universe ride at Epcot? Well, that's actually part of the magic. So when you first enter the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, you enter part of the World Showcase. It is thematically aligned with Epcot because you enter the wonders of Xandar. Xandar is the fictional world from the MCU. It is part of the World's Fair. It is treated like a factual, real place and treated as if it is an exhibit about Xandar. You are treated to an overhead projector of the planet and the story of the Guardians and the battle for Xandar and all of these things. And as you make your way through this winding line, you see all of these displays about the culture of Xandar and the layout of the planet and their governance system and their wondrous technologies and their civil structure and all of the things that they've done to better their society. And it reads and looks exactly like something that you'd see from the Chicago World's Fair or something like that in the early 20th century. Meanwhile, of course, the purpose of all of this is to distract you from the fact that you have been waiting in line for 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes, watching these videos and seeing all of these light up physical displays and artifacts from the movie and all of that. And then, of course, you enter a pre-show where the plot of the ride is revealed, where there's some kind of a evil nemesis who is attacking Xandar, and you team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy and you have to attack this enemy and then escape and all of that. But the idea is there's this plot and you get to join the Guardians and you get on this ride and you do the ride and then you leave, and of course you exit through the gift shop. And at the end of it, of course, you check your watch and you notice like, oh, it didn't take as long as I thought it would. I was told it would take 50 minutes. And here I am, it's 40 minutes later, I just saved myself 10 minutes. Well, all of that is intentional, including when Disney lied to you about the wait time. That's something that they do on purpose because they always want to underpromise and overdeliver. So what can content creators learn from that whole experience? What Disney could have done in this instance was just simply put you on the roller coaster. They could have loaded everybody up, put you on the roller coaster, spun you around a few times, dropped you off. That was it. You would have experienced the adrenaline of being flung around a few times. Maybe there would have been music on the ride. Maybe there would have been some screens. Who knows? But you would have experienced the physical sensation of having been on a ride, and that maybe would have been it. And maybe you would have enjoyed that. But what would have made that any different from the kind of carnival that you see on the side of a road that sets up shop for a week or two? Not much, right? What they do so well is from the moment that you get in line, or in this case, they have this technology called a virtual queue, where you have to sign up for the line in advance. In fact, at 7 a.m. that morning, you have to sign up for the ride. From 7 a.m. that morning, throughout the entire day, they're building anticipation for you to get on that ride. And as you wait in line, they're building this lore about the ride. It's not just distracting you from the fact that you're having to stand there and wait and wait and wait, but they're bringing you into the world of this ride, this world of Xandar, of the Guardians, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're making you feel like you were part of this larger story, and they're enriching the entire experience minute by minute by minute. And then by the time you leave the ride and you enter the gift shop, they're giving you an opportunity to take part of that ride home with you in the form of something, of course, that you buy. And the photos that they take of you on the ride are free. So you get a snapshot of yourself screaming or smiling or whatever you're doing on the ride that you then get to take home and probably share with people on social media. So you get to live the experience of that ride permanently in some way after you've left the park, after you go home. So as a content creator, we should all be thinking about the experience, not just of the content that we're creating for people, and how we can build this sense of the experience of the content. It's not just about the blog post itself that we write, or the video that we make, or the podcast episode that we record, but it's the experience leading up to reading that blog post, watching that video, listening to that podcast episode, and the experience afterward, the takeaway. What do we want people to do afterwards? What is the action that we want people to take after that? What do we want them to go home with? Do we want them not only to do something, but do we want them to have learned something from it? Do we want this experience to have enriched them in some way? And if so, how? Then there is the meta experience, in a way, of creating the content itself. So as content creators and as people who build the tools that help people create content, how can we make the experience of creating content itself more rewarding? How can we build the administrative tools? How can we build the website itself in a way that makes content creation easier and more enjoyable? How can we, for lack of a better word, distract from the experience of the mechanics of content creation that are maybe less enjoyable or rote or repetitive? How can we make it rewarding? What are some tricks that we can pull that make it feel like that was really easy and that was really fun? So if we were to apply that little trick that Disney World does, where they lie to you about the time and they say, well, this is going to be 30 minutes, and then by the time you leave, it turns out it was just 20, and you think, oh, I beat the system a little bit, or I got my 10 minutes back, and I somehow have rolled back the clock. Are there things we could do with progress indicators, for example, where maybe the progress indicator moves slowly at first and then suddenly it jumps forward and oh wow, we're done, and that didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. Or maybe we tell people, hey, this form is going to take 5 minutes to complete, but we know it's really only going to take 2 or 3. And so we set that expectation low, but then we deliver it in a way that feels so much more rewarding in the end. So that's just one example of what we as content creators can learn from amusement park designers. But what about you? What do you think? What do you think we could learn from them? Let us know in the comments below.